All right, I need your guys' help today to help me solve a mystery. Do you think if I give you clues, you can figure out what's in this box without me telling you?
Yes.
You can? Okay, so in this box, I have something that's thousands, maybe even millions years older than you. Did you hear the clue? So you get 5 guesses only. So think about it for a second. Something in this box is thousands or millions years older than you. Raise your hand if you think you have a guess. You only get 5. All right, go ahead.
Rocks.
Rocks? Wow, she got it right off the bat.
I wanted to guess rocks.
You already knew it? That's really impressive.
Rocks. No, see, look. It says
Where is it?
Rocks.
Oh, wow. I gave you the clue right off the bat, didn't I?
You should have gave us a harder clue.
A harder clue?
Like
Something that can't break in my hands.
Yeah.
And something. Go ahead and find it for me.
Found it.
Go ahead. Take it out.
Got it out.
Just like this one. Okay, rocks like this, they make up one of the greatest natural wonders in the world. Do you have any idea what natural wonder I'm talking about?
Rocks.
A natural wonder, yeah?
Mountains.
A mountain? That's a good guess, yeah?
Like long road. Like in
A long road, yeah? Lena?
volcano.
Volcano? Go ahead. Yeah.
I think they build buildings.
Okay, they can build buildings with rocks. Go ahead, sit down. All right, go ahead.
I guess that includes nature.
Nature, yes. There's lots of things in nature, but there are amazing formations that are made out of these rocks. Maybe there's a clue up there.
They can make a
I
canyon.
think I have one.
They can make a canyon.
Sit down. Sit in your place, please.
They can make it landslide.
Would you like to see what I'm talking about?
I think I know.
It's a canyon.
I know. Abdullah. You just said Abdullah. I wanted to say it's a canyon. Yeah, it's a canyon.
This one exactly? Look up here.
I knew it.
But this is a special canyon. Do you know what the name of this canyon is?
No.
This is the Grand Canyon in the United States.
I love that canyon.
Yeah? It's really exciting.
there before.
All right. So let's look.
Canyon.
I know you guys had a really exciting, fun day. But in this group, we're taking turns talking. Okay?
I guess.
So let's look at this picture and think.
Can't you just put your stuff and close the door?
Let's look at this picture. Let's observe it and think, how can these canyons be made? If a rock like that in her hand makes up these canyon walls, how did they get formed like this? Let's look at some other pictures, okay?
I know how. In Google Chrome. I know.
Oops, that's not the one we want.
Oops.
I think it's that.
This one? This is the Grand Canyon. It is so big in northern Arizona that we can see it from space. This is a picture.
It's like what do you call it?
Is that the Grand Canyon from space?
No.
Yes.
It is. And look at this picture. Look at the water. Excuse me, if I'm talking, you're not. At the bottom of this canyon, look at all this water. They've got waterfalls in here. People can hike down there, and they can raft.
Oh, I love rafting.
So let's.
Rafting. With me. Yeah. We went rafting together.
Let's sit and let's think. So how did this rock turn into those canyon walls? Let's just think, did that happen over a short time or a long time? Let's keep it in our head for a second.
You gave us a clue.
So how did these rocks end up like that? I want you to turn to a partner right next to you and talk about it.
Because it's so old. That's why because different. What rock?
on this side.
And then the rocks on the side. The rocks that act the same way.
Okay, high five. Are you talking with your partner about... High five. Are you talking with your partner about whether it happened over a long span of time or it just happened like that? Just one day there was this giant canyon. So let's now sit in a circle. Okay.
Why are you bringing?
Guys, if you don't want to do the experiment today, we can just sit here quietly.
Why are you bringing?
Are you going to continue talking or do you need to go outside? Okay. Let's go back a little bit. All right. So what could have possibly have formed this canyon? Does anybody have an idea? Go ahead.
Stages.
Stages? Like what kind of stages? What do you mean?
Like, this is what this is the second, this is this is what.
Uh-huh. What do you think was the first thing that started this canyon?
Igneous.
Igneous? The type of rock. You mean the rocks were there. All right. Who can build off of what he said? Who thinks it's stages that happen one at a time? Does anybody think that? Yeah?
I think.
Do you agree with him that it happened in stages? What do you think then? What was the second stage? So first we had rocks and then... Go ahead.
The rocks started to grow.
They grew?
Grow.
Is this rock alive? Is it growing?
No, I got one.
Is it going to get bigger?
I got one.
Go ahead. Yeah?
So in the desert, the sand, I brush it on a lot, and then the sand turns into rocks for when it brushes a lot, and then it lands on there.
So that's really interesting.
So
She's saying, is she saying, what's she saying?
So I think she means when like the sand brushes and then becomes rocks, it goes on top of the rocks and makes a canyon. I think that's no. It kind of like fuses with the rock, and then it becomes.
So the rock becomes bigger?
Yeah.
You mean it builds over time? The sand comes and builds on top of it? All right, but you have to be sitting on your bottom for me to let you speak. Go ahead.
That's what said. I think it turned like a million of years. That's how it turned.
Millions of years. All right, interesting. So we're thinking that this is a long process. So there's not just one rock in this canyon, right?
No.
No. There's so many.
More than
So what then? If we have two stages, maybe the sand is coming, maybe it's getting stuck together. But do we have any other ideas? Let's look at this picture. What else is in this canyon?
Water.
Water. Do you think maybe the water has something to do with making the canyon?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yes,
Should we see it? Should we see a video?
The water.
I think I know.
The water is
Yes.
The water is turning
I'll
the
wait.
sand into.
I'll wait.
Raise your
Okay.
hand.
Abdullah, would you like to speak?
Yeah.
Okay, could you raise your hand?
It's because the sun is making the waters go towards the sand, and then it takes time to dry out to become a rock.
Can someone clarify what Abdullah is saying? Somebody get what he was saying and can say it in other words?
Me.
Do you know?
I think.
Okay, give it a shot.
I think he's saying that the sun, the sun makes the water move, and then it touches the sand, and then sand becomes a rock.
Sand becomes a rock. Okay.
Because rocks are sand.
So the water is brushing up against the rocks as it's going down in the bottom? Or Abdullah, did you have something else to say?
I think I can clarify.
You think you can clarify? Abdullah, do you want her help? Okay, go ahead.
So I think what he means is like the sun dries up the water to be sand, then that the water that's now sand, so first I think he means like the water goes up onto the rocks, then it dries up to be sand, and then the sand becomes a rock, and then that's what forms the canyon.
All right. Should we see a video and maybe get some ideas? All right. So we have to sit quietly through it, though. Go ahead and turn and look at the screen.
So why do you think there are cracks in the ground like this? What makes a canyon? You might have had a few different ideas. One thing you might have thought of is that there could have been an earthquake a long time ago, which made a crack in the ground, and it's just been there ever since. But when there's an earthquake, it does something more like this. Earthquakes can lift the ground up, or even cause the ground to go down a little. But earthquakes don't always make cracks in the ground. Sometimes they do. But here's the thing about those kinds of cracks. They're actually just a thin rip in the ground. They're never deep cracks, the kind you could fall into or walk around in. An earthquake crack also tends to be in a straight line like this. But if you look at canyons, they're not anything like that. They're usually deep. Deep enough you could walk around in them. And they're not always straight lines either. Canyons are cracks that can curve around, like the shape of a river. That's actually a clue to why there are canyons. If you're around a canyon during or after a rainstorm, you have to be very careful. Because canyons are cracks in the ground, water might start to pool up at the bottom of the canyon like this. And if that water got too deep, that wouldn't be good. Look at this. This is after a rainstorm, and you can see water doesn't just sit at the bottom of the canyon. It's actually flowing out of the canyon. Could that be a clue about how canyons form? Look at the color of the water. Do you see that? That water is so muddy and brown. The water is the same color as the canyon walls.
Think about that. The water is the same. The water that's coming through this canyon is the same color as the canyon walls. Keep your hands down for a second.
That's familiar to what I said.
So, we know the water's coming through, and how is it the same color as the canyon walls? Talk to your partner about how you think, why it's the same color. What's in that water?
I think because it's like the sea
All right, who would like to share their ideas? Okay, can we focus back in? Salem? Okay, great. Who hasn't shared yet? You haven't shared, have you?
When the sun comes to the water will change to the same color as the sand.
So you're saying the sand is in the water, right? And where's the sand come from? Where's it coming from?
Water.
You're not sure? Go ahead.
The sand.
Where's the sand coming from? Where do you think?
The canyon.
It's coming from the canyon. Yeah, it's everywhere in the canyon, right? It's sand and rocks. Did you want to share? Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Adam.
Which one is the sand?
It's the same color as the canyon. What's in that water?
Sand.
It's sand, right? That means that as the water's flowing through the canyon, it's carrying things out with it. The water is taking these things out with it as it just drains out. So do you think that the water may be what's causing these canyons? Let's see.
It's all full of sand and mud and even rocks. It's like the water is carrying stuff out of the canyon. Could it be that water is what makes a canyon? If that's true, it would mean something kind of unbelievable. It would mean water is acting like an excavator, carving sand and mud and rocks out of the ground. Is water really that powerful?
So, do you think water's that powerful that it could make something this huge? That it could take this rock and wear it down so much that it became walls like this, that just pieces of the rock would be falling off?
No. Yeah.
Well,
Rocks are on the beach.
should we find out?
No.
We shouldn't find out. We should never know the answer.
We should find out the answer. Scientists always find out the answer.
That's right.
I know the
I want you to think in your head for a minute. How could we test this theory? How could we see if water is really strong enough to make canyons? Just think, how could we do that? Because we can't go to the mountain and we can't dump a bunch of water on it, can we? No, that would take forever.
You have to even get to the mountain.
That would maybe take thousands of years.
And get a water and then, oh no, I lost all the water when we go back.
So share with your partner your ideas about how we could test that. Who do you trust to go get water?
One like this.
Which student wouldn't get lost or dump it all over themselves? Lena, do you want to go put some water in this for me? Don't put more than you can carry, okay? Okay, Lena, try not to make a mess.
And then she will take the rocks.
We can't make rocks. That takes millions of years.
To put sand out in the sun, it will take till
Okay.
in high school.
So let's bring our eyes up here. Oh, it smells like strawberries. So I accidentally put strawberry protein powder instead of flour. Okay. Okay.
It does smell like strawberry.
Are you done, Abdullah? All right. So we're going to pretend, right? We can't go to the mountain and dump water. So we have to make a smaller model. A model is just something that resembles nature outdoors, right? It resembles what we want to test. So this is our piece of land here. But it has some rocks in it. It's got sand, just like we would find out here in the canyon. And we have to figure out if water can really make a canyon. Salem? So, how could we test that? What could I do with this piece of land to figure out if water is strong enough to make a canyon? Go ahead.
We should put water, and then we should put the rock, and then we should test it out what.
How are we going to put the water on this? Are we just going to dump it on there? What are we going to do?
We're gonna put rocks, and then we're gonna put the water on them.
Okay. Can anyone add on that? Go ahead.
So I can add on that by before instead of putting the water on top of the rock, we have like a box of water, and then we put the rock in, and then we have to observe it and see is water really strong enough to break this piece of land.
This is our piece of land. So instead of using this rock here, we are using this piece of land. Because this rock, if we were to pour water on it, that would take millions of years. So we have to use something smaller. There's little rocks in this. We have to use a mixture of the sand and the rocks that we would find in a canyon, only in a smaller version, right? So, wow. Want some help?
Strong.
Very strong. Very impressive.
I can take that to one.
No, I can do that.
You can't. You can't.
It's wet.
Okay. So we have our model so that we can test on it, and we want to know if water is strong enough to make canyons. So to find the answer, we have to test it, right? So let's return to our desk so we can make each one of us can make a piece of land like this and figure out if water really does make canyons, okay? So let's return to our desks.